August 6th, the day, brighter than 1,000 suns. The morning started like any other bright, clear summer day. The sound of the air raid siren around 7 a.m. didn't alarm the city's residents much, who had grown used to it by then. Even the all-clear signal an hour later seemed routine. The city's people, busy preparing for their day, perhaps thought worrying about an uncertain threat was a luxury they couldn't afford. But just 15 minutes later, at 8:15 a.m., a flash of silent light appeared in the sky, whiter than white. And right after that, a deafening, dull roar. Like the brightness of 1,000 suns, a wave of fiery terror tore through the sky, racing from east to west. In an instant, a city of nearly 350,000 people was obliterated. Everything within a mile of the blast site turned to dust. Buildings, concrete, and wood alongside the city's inhabitants were violently thrown about by the force of the explosion. Then came the storm of fire that engulfed everything in its path. A father's old glasses, a baby just beginning to speak, a carefully chosen set of toys in a swing, the smile of a little girl in her school dress with pigtails, the red bag of the naughty boy in class, a distracted young man walking down the street thinking of his wife, a young woman standing on her balcony, absent-mindedly watching the noise of the street below, a half-completed math problem on the blackboard, a thick file on a desk in a newly opened office, blades of grass, birds, butterflies. Everything was wiped out in a flash. The intense heat of the fire burned the color of the few surviving streets, walls, and bridges. The shadows of people standing in the open were permanently etched into the ground. Within a minute of the explosion, around 100,000 people were dead, and another 100,000 were gravely injured. Slowly, a massive mushroom cloud of dust and smoke began to cover the skies over the city. Thousands of people lay scattered across the streets and sidewalks, waiting for death. All day they sat in a daze, vomiting and then eventually dying. Some who made it to the riverbank, their bodies burnt and drained of all strength, lay motionless by the water. By evening, many quietly slipped beneath the rising waters. When rescuers tried to pull others into boats, their flesh peeled off like gloves, exposing raw, pus-filled skin. Through the shattered streets of Hiroshima, slick with blood and flesh, a group of soldiers wandered aimlessly. From their hollowed-out eyes and burnt cheeks, melted eyes trickled down. They were likely looking toward the sky when the bomb went off. On August 6, 1945, at 1,900 feet above Hiroshima, 64 kilograms of uranium-235 exploded, releasing the first atomic bomb ever used in war, little boy. The blast destroyed 70% of Hiroshima's buildings. According to American reports, 60,000 to 90,000 people died on the first day. Japanese sources claim the number was much higher. By December 1945, 3 months later, the death toll had risen to around 140,000. According to a 2016 report from the Associated Press, citing Hiroshima city officials and Japan's health and interior ministries, the long-term death toll from radiation-related illnesses over the decades increased the figure to nearly 300,000. 3 days later, another atomic bomb, Fat Man, was dropped on Nagasaki. 6 days later, on August 15, 1945, Japan surrendered. The strange thing is that this unprecedented devastation occurred at a time when Japan was seeking a dignified surrender. Even before August 6th, American military intelligence had intercepted coded messages sent by Japan and had confirmed that Japan was attempting to surrender through the Soviet Union. Many, including Dwight Eisenhower, the Supreme Commander of the Allied forces during World War II, Major General Curtis LeMay, who was responsible for all air raids against Japan, Pacific Commander-in-Chief Chester Nimitz, Chief of Staff to the President William Leahy, and Brigadier General Carter Clark, a military intelligence officer responsible for sending intercepted Japanese messages to American government officials, have admitted that from a military standpoint, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were unnecessary. Nonetheless, the United States decided to proceed with this militarily unnecessary attack. By using atomic bombs, America aimed to solidify its dominance on the world stage as an unstoppable, invincible superpower and to counter Soviet influence in the Pacific region, killing two birds with one stone. The geopolitical calculations and diplomatic maneuvering of the United States cost the lives of nearly 400,000 people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In its quest for power, America's indiscriminate, widespread modern-day massacre was not just genocide, but state terrorism, truly a crime against humanity. 16 hours after the Hiroshima explosion, President Harry Truman made the following statement.
A short time ago, an American airplane dropped one bomb on Hiroshima and destroyed its usefulness to the enemy. That bomb has more power than 20,000 tons of TNT.
16 hours ago, an American plane dropped a bomb on Hiroshima, a key Japanese military base. This bomb was more powerful than 20,000 tons of TNT, and nearly 2,000 times more explosive than the largest bomb previously used in warfare, the British Grand Slam. Three features repeatedly emerge from Truman's 1,150-word speech. First, there is the pride in creating and using a weapon of immense and terrifying destructive power. Second, there is an absence of any remorse for the unprecedented scale of killing and human suffering. Third, there is the legitimization of the mass murder of civilians by labeling a city with over 300,000 living people as a key military base. Over the past 73 years, from 1946 to now, the United States has directly and indirectly killed nearly 20 million people with professional efficiency and detached expertise. After repeated genocides, American presidents have consistently delivered similar statements with the same kind of detached confidence and pride, just like Truman. Even with 12 more presidents following Truman, the scripted denial of responsibility after terrorist attacks has remained unchanged. The three characteristics that have come to define American genocide over the ages are an almost fetishistic admiration for the technology of destruction, a detached lack of remorse, and the use of terrorism to advance self-interest under the guise of peace, humanity, democracy, or other ideals.